I found out my wife cheated on me with the one person I trusted after her. My world collapsed in one night, and I had to decide whether to walk away or destroy myself trying to forgive. The night my wife confessed she'd cheated on me with her own stepbrother. The dishwasher was humming, the dog was asleep at her feet, and our son was upstairs asking Alexa how to spell family. If you'd walked into our house 5 minutes before those words left her mouth, you'd have said we were the picture of it. My name's David. I'm 36, born and raised in Ohio, the kind of guy who still says sir to waiters and tips too much because my dad always did. For most of my 30s, if you'd asked me to describe my life in one word, I'd have said steady. Steady job, steady house, steady marriage. Nothing spectacular, nothing flashy, just good. Solid. The kind of life people post about on Facebook with too many heart emojis. I met Emily at a 4th of July cookout my buddy hosted behind his apartment complex. She was there only because her stepbrother, Ryan, had dragged her along to touch grass after a brutal week at work. I was the guy in the faded Browns jersey manning the grill, trying not to burn the hot dogs. She walked up to the table for a plate. The fireworks hadn't even started yet, and I swear it felt like they already had. She made fun of my apron, bright red, big white letters. Kiss the cook. Bold choice, Shed said, smirking. You get many takers? Working on it, I told her. You busy? Cheesy as it sounds, that was it. We spent the rest of the night talking about music, road trips, the way neither of us knew how to relax without feeling guilty about it. I met Ryan that night too, loud and easygoing, the kind of guy who could high-five a stranger and make it feel normal. Head ruffle her hair, call her M, roll his eyes at her stories like an annoying little brother, even though he was actually 2 years older. 2 years later, Emily and I were married in a small church with ugly carpet and great stained glass. Ryan stood on my side as a groomsman because he said Head earned it. My mom cried through the entire ceremony. My dad shook my hand like I'd just signed some big contract. And when we drove off in my dented pickup with just married written in shoe polish across the back window, I honestly believed I'd won at life. We bought a little 3-bedroom ranch on a quiet cul-de-sac. Nothing fancy. Brown siding, creaky deck, backyard that turned into a swamp every spring. But it was ours. Emily filled it with plants and throw blankets. I filled the garage with tools I barely knew how to use. On Sundays we'd grill, watch football, and argue about whose turn it was to do laundry. Ordinary, boring, beautiful stuff. When our son, Jacob, was born 3 years into the marriage, everything shifted a little to the side and snapped into place. I remember holding him in that hospital room, his fist wrapped around my finger like Head decided I was his guy, and thinking, okay, this is it. This is what all of it was leading to. We became that family. Matching flannel pajamas at Christmas. Pumpkin patch selfies in October. Beach trips where none of us actually relaxed because Jacob was a heat-seeking missile for every wave and sharp rock on the shore. Emily would send me videos during the day. Jacob laughing at some cartoon, Ryan stopping by with takeout, everyone piled on our worn-out couch watching movies. If there were cracks back then, I didn't see them. From where I was standing, we were solid. I had a wife I adored, a son who thought I hung the moon, and a brother-in-law who'd somehow become one of my closest friends. I had no idea that the two people I trusted most after my own parents were already walking me toward the moment I'd hear the words that would blow all of that apart. The first thing that felt wrong was a laugh. Not the big, head-thrown-back kind Emily used to give me when I did something stupid, like dance in the kitchen or try to rap along with songs I had no business rapping to. This one was quieter, lower. I was in the hallway, halfway to the living room with a load of laundry in my arms, when I heard it drifting from the kitchen. Emily's laugh. Then Ryan's voice, low, joking about something I couldn't quite catch. Then her again, that soft laugh she usually saved for late at night when it was just the two of us. I stopped in the hallway without really meaning to. They were standing close together near the sink when I walked in. Too close for two people who call each other bro all the time. She jumped a little when she saw me, then stepped away, like Shed just realized where she was. Ryan just grinned, held up his beer like Head been giving a toast. Hey man, he said. We were just talking about that disaster trip to Nashville. Remember that bar that smelled like feet? Emily talked too fast, filling the air, asking about my day. I told myself I was being weird, paranoid. People stand near each other. People laugh. I kissed Emily on the temple, ruffled Jacob's hair where he sat at the table coloring, and I let it go. Or I tried to. After that, it was like somebody turned the brightness up on things I'd never noticed before. How often Ryan came over when I was working late. How they texted each other memes at all hours. How she'd toss her phone face down when I walked into the room, just a half-second too fast to be casual. One Saturday afternoon, Jacob and I were putting together this cheap plastic race track on the living room floor, and Emily was on the couch with her phone. Every few seconds, it would buzz. She'd smile, type, delete, type again. That little crease formed between her eyebrows, the one she gets when she's overthinking. Who you texting? I asked, not looking up from a tiny screwdriver that refused to cooperate. Just Ryan, she said. He's sending videos from the game. I nodded. No big deal. They'd always been close. He was there before me. Had been the one to walk her through their parents' messy divorce. He was the fun uncle to Jacob, the one who brought noisy toys and sugared him up before bedtime. It made sense they talked a lot. But when Jacob went to bed that night and her phone buzzed on the coffee table, I happened to see the preview. Delete this lol. She grabbed the phone so quickly she knocked over her water. Laughing it off, she wiped the table with a dish towel, acting like nothing had happened. I didn't say anything then either. I just felt something heavy settle in my chest. The late nights started after that. First, it was work. Always work. They're short-staffed, she'd say, slipping on her jacket. My boss asked if I could help close. We've got a deadline. It'll just be a couple hours. Sometimes she'd mention Ryan like she was sprinkling him into the story on purpose. He might swing by later, she'd say. He said he'd help me with this spreadsheet. You know how I am with numbers. I'd nod and kiss her goodbye, standing in the doorway with Jacob on my hip, watching her taillights disappear down the street. But it wasn't just late nights. It was distance. Little things I used to take for granted started disappearing. She stopped grabbing my hand automatically when we crossed a parking lot. Stopped reaching for my leg on the couch, that absent-minded touch you don't even think about when you're comfortable with someone. Our inside jokes started landing flat. I'd say something that used to make her snort laugh, and she'd smile politely like I was a stranger trying to make small talk in line at the DMV. One evening, I went to surprise her with dinner at work. It was a dumb Hallmark movie idea, but I'd gotten off early, and I was really trying to lean against the doubt gnawing at me. I showed up with takeout and a goofy grin, and she wasn't there. Her coworker, a tired-looking woman in glasses, blinked at me. She swapped shifts, she said. She's off today. I remember just standing there in the doorway, holding that paper bag that suddenly felt way too heavy. On the drive home, every red light felt personal. My mind started connecting dots that might not even have belonged on the same page. When I pulled into our street, I saw Ryan's car parked a few houses down, like he'd tried not to make it obvious. The house was dark except for the light in the living room. I walked in, heart pounding way harder than it should have. Emily and Ryan were on the couch, sitting apart but not far. A movie played on the TV. A bowl of popcorn sat between them like a prop. "You're home early," she said, a beat too slow. "Yeah," I answered. "So are you." Ryan jumped in, easy and loud as always. "We were just watching this dumb movie waiting for you. Want a beer?" I stared at Emily. She wouldn't quite meet my eyes. Her hand was resting on the couch cushion, fingers spread just a little too close to where his had been. I wish I could say I confronted them right there, that I trusted my gut and demanded answers. But I didn't. I laughed it off. I let Ryan clap me on the back and shove a beer in my hand. I let Emily kiss my cheek and tell me I was sweet for thinking of bringing her dinner. Later that night, after Ryan left and the house was finally quiet, I lay awake next to her, staring at the ceiling. She slept facing away from me, her back a curve under the blanket, her breathing slow and even. I told myself I was being dramatic, that I was tired, that marriage goes through phases, that people get busy, that old closeness just shifts sometimes when life piles on. But deep down, under all the excuses and rationalizing, a small voice had started talking. It wasn't loud yet, but it was steady. Something's wrong, man. And for the first time since I married Emily, I didn't quite trust my own wife or my own eyes. It all really broke on a random Thursday. I wasn't snooping. I was just looking for a flash drive. Jacob had a family tree project for school and we needed old photos. Emily yelled from the kitchen, "Check my nightstand. It might be in there." I pulled the drawer open, pushed past old receipts and hair ties. Her tablet lit up when I bumped it. A message preview flashed before it locked again. "Ryan, you know I'd choose you every time." I froze. I told myself it was nothing. Siblings say weird stuff. They're dramatic. They joke. But my hands were already moving. I picked up the tablet. My thumb tried her usual passcode. It opened. Messages. Ryan and Emily. Ryan, last night messed me up. Emily, don't say that. Ryan, how am I supposed to act normal around him after this? Emily, please, don't talk about it. I'm already sick. My chest went tight. I scrolled. Ryan, I can't stop thinking about that night on the couch. Emily, we were drunk. It was a mistake. Emily, can't happen again. Ryan, I can't promise that if we're alone again. Felt like the floor tilted. Our couch. Our house. My wife. Her stepbrother. Dad, did you find the pictures? Jacob called from the living room. His voice sounded far away. I set the tablet down like it might burn a hole through my hand. Yeah, bud, I managed. Give me a minute. I walked into the kitchen on legs that didn't feel like mine. Emily was at the sink, rinsing dishes, humming. She looked so normal it almost made me angry. I saw your messages, I said. She turned, confused. What? On your tablet. With Ryan. I watched the realization hit her. Her face lost all its color. For half a second, I could see her trying to decide whether to lie. Then her shoulders dropped. Oh God, she whispered. David. I grabbed the back of a chair because I honestly wasn't sure I'd stay standing. Tell me what happened, I said. My voice didn't sound like mine either. She covered her face. It was that night, she choked out. When you were working late and I said I was going to bed early. Ryan came over to drop off those boxes. We started talking. Then drinking. Too much. We were on the couch and it crossed a line. I swear, I didn't mean for it to happen. I hate myself for it. Don't describe it, I cut in, my throat burning. Please don't. Silence pressed in around us. I could hear the fridge humming, cartoons in the other room, her breath shaking. How long? I asked. How long has this been going on? It was just that once, she said quickly. Just that night. We've only been talking about it since. I know that sounds bad, I know. But it never happened again. Couldn't. I love you, David. I never stopped. The words just bounced off me. You and Ryan, I said slowly, trying to make my brain accept it. On our couch. While our son was here. She broke down completely, sobbing, reaching out, then pulling her hands back like she wasn't sure she had the right anymore. I'm so sorry. She whispered over and over. If I could take it back, I would. I wish I could erase it. Please believe me. Jacob's footsteps thudded down the hall. Dad? Mom? Are we doing my project? I swallowed hard. Buddy, go back to your room for a bit. Okay? They'll be there soon. His door closed again. The house felt too small for what was happening inside it. I looked at Emily, the woman I'd married, the mother of my son, the person I thought I knew better than anyone. For the first time, she felt like a stranger standing in my kitchen. I can't be here right now, I said, grabbing my keys. Where are you going? She asked, panic flaring. I don't know, I answered. And that was the truth. I just can't breathe in this house. I stepped out onto the porch into the same quiet neighborhood. The same neat lawns, the same front yard where Jacob rode his bike. Everything looked exactly like it always had. But from that moment on, nothing was the same. I don't remember the roads I took. I just remember pulling into a dark parking lot, turning off the engine, and finally breaking down. I thought about Jacob's family tree project and how ID just watched ours split. That's what hurt the most. By the time I could breathe again, my phone was full of missed calls and texts from Emily. Please come home. We have to talk. I'm so sorry. I went home. The kitchen light was on. She was at the table, eyes red, her hands wrapped around a cold mug. Is he asleep? I asked. She nodded. He kept asking where you were. I told him you were helping a friend. I'm sorry, David. For all of it. I sat down across from her. Tell me. No excuses. Just the truth. She took a shaky breath. We were drunk. Really drunk. ID already had wine, he brought more. We started talking about old stuff, about feeling tired and alone, and I let myself lean on him in a way I never should have. He hugged me. I knew it was wrong, and I didn't stop it. That's on me. I won't blame the alcohol. I made the choice. Tears ran down her face. I woke up sick with guilt. Eve hated myself ever since. I started therapy a month ago because of it. I haven't touched a drink since that night. I know that doesn't erase anything, but I need you to know I haven't just shrugged this off. What about Ryan? I asked. I blocked him, she said. I told him not to contact me or my family again. I'm done. If you want to confront him, that's your choice. But he's out of my life. Then she slid off her ring and pushed it toward me. If you want a divorce, they'll sign whatever you want. You keep the house, everything. I know I don't deserve you, but if there's any chance you could ever forgive me, I'm begging for one chance to earn it. Not today. Not quickly. Just a chance. I turned the ring between my fingers, thinking about all our years together and that one awful night on the couch. Two realities in one person. Before this, I always thought ID walked the second someone cheated. Simple. Clear. Turns out it's not simple when it's your own family on the line. I don't forgive you, I said. Not yet. I don't trust you. Not yet. But I'm not ready to throw everything away without trying. Her eyes filled with fresh tears. I'm giving you 1 second chance, I said. Not because what you did was small, but because I love you and I love our son, and I believe people can be more than their worst moment. We start from zero. You earn my trust day by day. If you betray it again, I'm gone. I slid the ring back to her. Now, some days I'm glad I stayed. Some days it still burns. Healing hasn't been a straight line. But my opinion is this. I chose to give her a second chance because love, real love, isn't just a feeling. It's a decision. I decided to stay and see if something honest could grow again in the ruins. Whether that makes me wise or foolish, time will tell. But it was my choice. And every day, I wake up and make it again. If you'd walked into our house today, you'd never guess what almost broke it. The couch is different now. That was one of the first things to go. We didn't make a big ceremony out of it. We just told Jacob it was time for an upgrade and let him pick the color. He chose a ridiculous blue that somehow works. When it got delivered, I watched the old one get carried down the steps and loaded into the truck, and I felt lighter. Not healed. Just like I could breathe a little better. There's no alcohol in the house anymore. Not even cooking wine. At first it felt extreme, but honestly, I don't miss it. I used to think a beer after work helped me relax. Now I talk more. Emily and I both do. That's one of the unexpected side effects of all this. If you decide to stay after something like that, you either learn to talk or you drown. We go to counseling once a week. At first I hated it. Sitting on that little couch, facing some stranger in a cardigan asking, "And how did that make you feel?" Felt like something from TV. But somewhere around session 5, I realized I was saying things out loud I'd only ever let rattle around in my head at 3 in the morning. I told Emily, in front of another person, exactly how it felt to picture her and Ryan on that couch. I told her how my chest still tightens when I hear her phone buzz at night. I told her that sometimes, when she runs 5 minutes late, my brain still jumps to the worst place before I can drag it back. To her credit, she doesn't run from any of it. She listens. She answers every question. Sometimes she cries. Sometimes she just nods. like she knows she earned every ounce of my doubt and is willing to stand there while it washes over her. Trust hasn't come back in some grand, sweeping moment. It's come back in small, boring ways. She shares her location with me without me asking. She tells me when she's running errands, who she's with, when she'll be home. Not because I demand it, but because she wants to be accountable. She keeps going to her own therapy. She's honest when she has a bad day and starts spiraling into self-hate, instead of hiding it. And me? Eve had to do work too, whether I liked that idea or not. It would have been easy to wrap myself in anger like armor and live there forever. Some days I wanted to, but anger, Eve learned, is heavy. You can carry it, sure, but you can't really do much else. So Eve been trying something harder. Telling the truth even when it makes me vulnerable. Admitting I still hurt. Admitting that some nights, when she rolls over to put her arm around me, I flinch for half a second before I let myself relax. Admitting that I'm scared. Scared of wasting years on someone who might break me again. Scared of what it would do to Jacob if this all falls apart later. Speaking of Jacob, he still doesn't know. At least not the details. He knows Mom and Dad went through a tough time and that we talked to someone to help us. Kids pick up more than we think, but he still laughs the same, still runs down the hall in his socks, still curls up between us on that new blue couch for movie night. Sometimes I watch him, head on my shoulder, feet in her lap, and I think, this is why I stayed. This is what I'm fighting for. Ryan is gone. Completely. No calls, no texts, no random visits. It's like he dropped off the map. I did end up calling him once early on. I won't repeat what I said, not because it was obscene, but because that level of anger doesn't need to live outside that moment. He tried to apologize. I told him he'd already said enough. I hung up and blocked his number. That chapter is closed. So where does that leave me? Leave us? Hey Race, the honest truth. I don't think our marriage will ever go back to what it was before. But I've stopped seeing that as automatically bad. Before, I thought we were solid because nothing big had ever tested us. Now I know how fragile we were in ways I never realized. How much we let stress and loneliness sit quietly in the corners until they turned into something poisonous. Now we're building something different. Not perfect. Not shiny. Just real. A marriage where we talk about the ugly stuff. Where I'm fine is not an acceptable answer if your eyes say otherwise. Where we don't assume the other person can read our mind. If you're expecting me to say, I 100% did the right thing by staying, I can't give you that. Some days, staying feels like the bravest thing Eve ever done. Other days, it feels like I laid my heart back on the table and said, here, try not to drop it this time. Do I regret giving her a second chance? No. I regret that I ever had to make that decision in the first place. I regret that one night on the couch, those messages, the image I can't fully erase. But the choice to stay, that's mine. I own it. Eve learned that forgiveness isn't a moment, it's a process. It's not saying what you did is okay. It's saying what you did was terrible, and I'm choosing not to let it be the only sentence in our story. Will we make it? I don't know. I hope so. Every time I see Emily packing Jacob's lunch, or folding his tiny socks, or studying my face like she's afraid to miss a single expression, I think we've got a shot. Every time the past flares up in my chest like a sudden pain, I know we've still got a long road. But when I stood in that kitchen months ago and slid her ring back to her, I meant what I said. I chose to give her one second chance. Not a third, not a fourth. One. My opinion on all of this now is pretty simple. Second chances are not automatic. They're not something anyone is owed. They're a gift that costs the giver something: time, pain, risk. If you ever get one, you treat it like gold. You protect it. You work for it every day. As for me, I wake up each morning, look at my wife, look at my son, and quietly decide again. Today, I'm still in. Today, I'm still trying. Some days that decision comes easy. Some days it doesn't. But for now, it's mine. And I'm living with it one honest, imperfect day at a time.